An economic blueprint with an eye to the electoral endgame.
Hello, Treasurer, hello.
Hey,
Delivering his fourth budget on the eve of an election, Jim Chalmers saved one big sweetener.
Will these tax cuts win you the election?
This budget is obviously being delivered on the eve of an election, but it's driven by economics, not politics.
Labor will reduce the lowest tax rate from 16 to 15% from July next year and to 14% the year after. It means the average worker earning $79,000 will get a tax cut of $268 or around $5 a week in 2026, doubling to $536 or $10 a week in 2027. The cost to the budget, $17 billion over 5 years.
Can we actually afford it?
Yes, we can, and we're providing these tax cuts in the most responsible way that we can.
The government will also ensure 1 million Australians avoid the full Medicare levy by increasing the threshold at which it's paid. It comes on top of a suite of cost of living measures, lowering power bills through a $150 rebate, making medicines cheaper by capping the cost of PBS-listed medicines at $25, and increasing incentives paid to doctors to drive up bulk billing rates. $35 billion in new policies paid for by a $36 billion windfall, Treasury finding a bit of wriggle room in the budget. On top of existing spending, Labor's back-to-back surpluses will become a decade of deficits. This year's deficit marginally better than forecast at $27.6 billion, rising rapidly next year before falling back to around $37 billion in 4 years' time. Including off-budget spending adds another $104 billion over the next 5 years. It's all driving up net debt. $556 billion this year, growing to $770 billion by 2028-29. As the budget slides deep into the red,
Keep smiling.
the government's focusing on the positives.
We've got the bottom line better in every single year than the bottom lines that we inherited when we came to these positions.
Even with income tax cuts, the budget bottom line is increasingly bolstered by the tax take from workers, particularly as once lucrative levies dwindle. Revenue from the tobacco excise has gone up in smoke as the cigarette black market explodes. Treasury wiping $6.9 billion from expected revenue over 5 years.
There is an issue when it comes to tobacco excise. There's a big hit in the budget.
If there's one word that sums up the budget, it's uncertainty. Whether it's the threat of US trade tariffs, a slowdown in the Chinese economy, or wars in Europe and the Middle East. Despite these global shocks, Australia's economic growth is gaining momentum. GDP rising from 1.5% this year to 2.75% in 4 years' time. Aided by another round of power bill rebates, inflation's back to 2.5% within the Reserve Bank's target range and staying there. It means workers are forecast to get a real wage rise each year from here as wages growth outpaces the cost of living. Wages for some could rise further, with Labor vowing to ban non-compete clauses, allowing workers to move more easily between jobs.
We are genuinely turning a corner in our economy. A story of Australian exceptionalism in the context of global economic uncertainty.
The Treasurer hoping his budget offerings are exceptional enough for voters to give Labor a second term.